I, 38M, am writing this post because I really need to get this off my chest. 8 years ago, my life changed completely when I caught my ex-wife Pamela, 37F, cheating on me with my stepbrother Marvin, 35M. The backstory is quite long but necessary to understand the whole situation. I met Pamela in college when we were both studying business. She was this bright, cheerful person who lit up every room she walked into. We started dating in our second year and continued for 4 years before getting married. Everyone said we were perfect together. We both had good jobs. I worked at a financial firm while she was in marketing. We bought a house, planned our future, and everything was going great. 3 years into our marriage, Pamela got pregnant. We were overjoyed as we had been trying for a while. However, the pregnancy turned out to be extremely difficult. She developed severe complications and had to be hospitalized multiple times. Her doctor put her on bed rest for the last 3 months. I took care of everything during this time, the house, her needs, everything. It was tough but I managed because I loved her. Our son James was born through an emergency C-section. The delivery was complicated and Pamela lost a lot of blood. She had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks after delivery. Even after coming home, she was extremely weak. The doctors said she needed complete rest and constant care. She could barely get out of bed, let alone take care of James. I was struggling to manage everything. I had taken all my leave during her pregnancy complications, so I had to return to work. We couldn't afford for me to quit as my salary covered our mortgage and now the massive hospital bills. I approached my supervisor about working from home, but he flatly refused. He said the company policy didn't allow it and that it would affect my upcoming promotion. I was stuck between taking care of my wife and newborn son, and maintaining my job. That's when I thought about asking my stepbrother Marvin for help. My dad had married his mom Darla when I was 12 and Marvin was 9. Despite the initial awkwardness, we grew close over the years. We went to the same high school and college, though he was always more interested in partying than studying. He had recently quit his job at a retail store and was living with our parents while looking for better opportunities. When I asked Marvin to help out, he agreed immediately. He said he had plenty of free time and would be happy to help his brother out. I was relieved. The plan was for him to be at our house during the day to help Pamela with basic tasks and keep an eye on James while I was at work. The arrangement worked well initially. Pamela started getting better with proper care. James was doing well too. Marvin would text me updates throughout the day, and everything seemed fine. After a few weeks, I noticed that even though Pamela was getting stronger, she kept insisting that Marvin should continue helping out. She said she still felt weak and needed support. I didn't think much of it then, I was just grateful for the help. Sometimes when I came home, I would find them laughing and talking in the living room. Once I found them watching a movie together while James slept. It made me a bit uncomfortable, but I pushed those feelings aside. After all, they were family. I trusted them both completely. One day, about 3 months into this arrangement, I came home early because I had a terrible migraine. When I entered the house, I heard James crying. I found him alone in his crib, his diaper soaked. I called out for Pamela and Marvin but got no response. When I went upstairs to our bedroom, I heard noises behind the closed door. I opened it to find them in bed together. I still remember standing there, frozen, while they scrambled to cover themselves. Pamela started crying and saying it wasn't what it looked like. Marvin tried to explain something but I couldn't hear anything over the ringing in my ears. I walked out, picked up James from his crib, packed a quick bag with his essentials, and left. I drove straight to my parents' house. I was in shock and didn't know where else to go. When I told them what happened, their reaction felt like another betrayal. My stepmom Darla immediately started defending Marvin. She said I was overreacting and that these things happen in marriages. She suggested that maybe if I had been home more, this wouldn't have happened. My dad didn't say much at first, but then he agreed with Darla. He said that for the sake of James, I should try to work things out with Pamela. He said divorcing over one mistake would be too harsh. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife and stepbrother had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and my family was defending them? They were more concerned about Marvin's reputation than how I was feeling. That night, I realized I couldn't stay there. I booked a hotel room and the next morning, I contacted a divorce lawyer. The divorce proceedings were ugly. Pamela fought hard for James's custody, claiming that an infant needs his mother more than his father. Despite evidence of her infidelity and the fact that she had left our baby alone while she was with Marvin, the court awarded her primary custody. I was given weekend visitation rights. I moved into a small apartment and tried to rebuild my life, looking forward to my weekends with James. My parents and Darla kept trying to contact me, saying I should give Pamela and Marvin another chance for the sake of family unity. I blocked them all. Some of my friends say I should have been more understanding since Pamela was sick and vulnerable. They say Marvin took advantage of her state. But I can't get past the betrayal. Marvin was supposed to help take care of her, not seduce her. And Pamela might have been sick, but she wasn't incapable of knowing right from wrong. This whole situation has left me feeling lost and betrayed by everyone I trusted. Ida for cutting everyone off and refusing to forgive them? Update 1. I wasn't planning to update so soon, but something major happened that changed everything. A month after my last post, Pamela showed up at my apartment on a Tuesday evening. She looked terrible, Her hair was a mess, she had clearly been crying, and she was nothing like the put-together person she usually was. Before I could say anything, she broke down crying right there at my doorstep. She told me that Marvin had left her. Apparently, when they started living together after the divorce, he realized he didn't want to deal with a baby. She said he had been getting increasingly irritated with James's crying and the responsibilities of having an infant around. According to her, they had been fighting a lot over the past few weeks. She was still recovering from her health issues and needed help with James, but Marvin would stay out late with his friends instead of helping. The final straw came when James got sick and had to be taken to the emergency room. Marvin refused to go with them, saying he had plans with his friends. He moved out the next day, saying he never signed up to be a father. I stood there listening to all this, feeling a mix of anger and satisfaction. She had fought so hard for custody just weeks ago, claiming she was the better parent. She had made me look like a terrible father in court. And now here she was, telling me she couldn't handle it. She told me she realized she had made a huge mistake. She wasn't ready to be a mother, especially not a single mother. She still got tired easily due to her health issues, and James was a very active baby who needed constant attention. She had already packed all of James's things in her car and wanted me to take him. At first, I thought she was just having a moment and would change her mind later. But she was serious. She had already written a letter stating she was voluntarily giving up custody. She said she had spoken to her lawyer about making it official. I called my lawyer immediately. He came over within an hour and started working on the paperwork. Pamela agreed to give me full custody with no visitation rights for herself. She signed everything without argument. The whole thing happened so fast that I'm still trying to process it. The first few nights with James were tough. He would cry a lot, probably confused about the change in environment. I had to learn everything quickly, his feeding schedule, his sleep routine, which toys he liked. But slowly, we started developing our own rhythm. I went to my boss the next day and explained the situation. Surprisingly, the same supervisor who had refused my work from home request earlier was now very accommodating. He approved a flexible schedule where I only need to come to office 2 days a week. I guess sometimes it takes a crisis for people to show their human side. My neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, has been a godsend. She's a retired teacher who lives across the hall. When she heard about my situation, she offered to help watch James when I need to go to the office. She says it gives her something to do and she loves having a baby around. The hardest part has been dealing with people's reactions. When they find out James's mother left him, they automatically assume I must have done something wrong. Some of my relatives have been calling, telling me I should have tried harder to make things work with Pamela. They say a child needs his mother. But where was all this concern when Pamela was cheating on me with my stepbrother? I haven't heard from Marvin or my parents since Pamela left James with me. I think they finally realized I meant it when I said I wanted nothing to do with them. Darla tried calling once to ask about James, but I shut that down quickly. I told her she lost all grandmother privileges when she defended her son's actions and blamed me for the affair. Sometimes when I'm up late at night feeding James or trying to get him to sleep, I wonder if I'm doing the right thing raising him alone. But then he looks at me with his innocent eyes or gives me one of his toothless smiles, and I know this is exactly where we both need to be. I'm focusing all my energy on being the best father I can be. James deserves at least one parent who puts him first. As for Pamela, I hope she figures out what she wants in life. Just not with my son. She made her choice when she chose my stepbrother over her family, and again when she decided being a mother was too hard. Update 2. I never thought I'd be making this update, but here I am. It's been 8 years since everything happened. James is 8 now and doing amazing in 3rd grade. He's smart, happy, and incredibly well-adjusted. He plays baseball, loves video games, and has lots of friends. We have a great life together, just the two of us, and I couldn't be prouder of the little man he's becoming. Last week, out of nowhere, Pamela contacted me through email. She wrote that she's been thinking about James a lot lately and wants to meet him. According to her email, she never had another child after James and has been regretting giving up on him. She said she's changed now, has a stable job, and wants to be a mother to him. Reading her email made my blood boil. She abandoned our son when he was just a baby because she couldn't handle the responsibility. She didn't want to deal with the sleepless nights, the constant worry, the doctor visits, or any of the hard parts of parenting. Now that all the difficult years are behind us, she wants to waltz back into his life? For 8 years, there was absolutely nothing from her. No birthday cards, no Christmas presents, not even a single phone call to ask how he was doing. She missed his first words, his first steps, his first day of school, every single milestone in his life. And now she thinks she can just come back because she's ready? She sent another email yesterday. This time her tone was different. She wrote that she has the right to know her son and that I can't keep him away from her forever. She threatened to take legal action if I don't let her meet him. I forwarded everything to my lawyer immediately. He assured me that since she voluntarily gave up her parental rights, she has no legal standing whatsoever. James doesn't even remember her. When he started asking about his mom around age 5, I told him the truth in age-appropriate terms, that his mother wasn't ready to be a mom and left him with me. He took it surprisingly well and hasn't asked much about her since then. He has Mrs. Rodriguez, who's basically become his grandmother figure, and several other strong female role models in his life. Somehow my parents found out about Pamela trying to contact us. They started calling me again after years of silence. They think I should give Pamela another chance because James needs his mother. I reminded them how they all supported her and Marvin's affair years ago, and told them to stay out of this. They have no right to give advice about what's best for James when they chose to support the people who hurt him most. I learned through mutual friends that Marvin got married 3 years ago and has 2 kids now. My parents and Darla dote on his children, posting pictures with them on social media and hosting birthday parties. Meanwhile, they haven't even tried to be there for James all these years. The hypocrisy is astounding. James has a great life. He's thriving in school, has plenty of friends, and is involved in several activities. He's never lacked for love or support. I've made sure he has everything he needs, including therapy when he was younger to help him process his feelings about his mother's absence. I'm not going to let Pamela disrupt James's life just because she's feeling lonely or regretful now. She made her choice 8 years ago. She doesn't get to decide to be a mother now just because it's convenient for her. James has been doing perfectly fine without her in his life. One thing this experience has taught me is that being a single parent is hard, but it's not impossible. Yes, there were times when I struggled, times when I wished I had someone to share the load. But we made it through, and James has grown into an amazing kid despite, or maybe because of, everything that happened. Update 3. It's been 2 months since my last update. Things got pretty intense after Pamela's threat about legal action. She actually filed a petition in court to establish visitation rights. My lawyer handled it perfectly though. The judge dismissed her petition immediately because she had voluntarily terminated her parental rights years ago. The judge even scolded her lawyer for wasting the court's time with such a baseless petition. After losing in court, Pamela started showing up at James's school. The principal called me one day saying she was trying to meet him during lunch break. She had told the school staff she was his mother and wanted to surprise him. Thankfully, I had already informed the school about our situation and provided them with the custody papers, so they didn't let her near him. I had to get a restraining order against her to keep her away from James. The school has been incredibly supportive throughout this whole ordeal. They've increased security and made sure all staff members know not to let anyone unauthorized near James. His teacher even moved his desk away from the classroom windows just to be safe. The most surprising thing happened last week. Darla came to my apartment crying. She had a complete breakdown, apologizing for everything, for defending Marvin years ago, for not being there for James, and for suggesting I let Pamela back into his life. She said watching Marvin's perfect family life while knowing what he did to destroy mine has been eating at her conscience. According to Darla, Marvin's wife recently found out about what happened between him and Pamela, and she's been giving Darla and my dad a hard time about how they handled the situation. She's apparently disgusted that they chose to defend Marvin instead of supporting me and James. I appreciated Darla's apology but told her it was too late. 8 years is a long time, and James and I have built our life without them. We don't need them now. My dad called after that, also trying to make amends, but I told him the same thing. They had their chance to be grandparents to James but they chose Marvin's side instead. James is still doing great. The whole situation hasn't affected him because I've made sure to keep him away from all this drama. He's excited about his upcoming baseball tournament and that's all that matters to him right now. His team made it to the state finals and he's been practicing extra hard. Pamela finally stopped trying to contact us after the restraining order. I heard through mutual friends that she moved to another state. Good riddance, I say. James and I are happy with our life as it is. Mrs. Rodriguez is still a huge part of our lives. She comes to all of James's games and helps him with his homework. Sometimes family isn't about blood or marriage, it's about who actually shows up and stays. I know some people might think I'm being too harsh, that everyone deserves a second chance. But this isn't about me or Pamela anymore, it's about what's best for James. He doesn't need someone walking in and out of his life whenever they feel like playing mom. This will be my last update. Thank you everyone for your support throughout this journey. James and I are doing great, and that's all that matters.